Three, two, and we're live. All right, awesome. All right, welcome, family. Welcome to another episode of the Wake Giant News Show. I am your host, Brother Jay. I'm the chair of the Ministry of Information for the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee for Justice or Else. Today, as you see, as I said last week, this entire week, we're going to be talking to some of the women of the L.O.C. and the things that are going on in L.O.C. Today, I have two special guests. Hello, family. Hello. How are you? You can wave back. Hello, it's all good. Talk me out. All right. All right. So I'm going to let the sisters introduce themselves. As you can see, I was hoping it was going to show on the banner, but it's not showing. Oh, there it is. MOA edition. That means Ministry of Agriculture edition of the Waking Giant News Show. All right, family. So we're going to be switching it up and doing different things. So today we will be highlighting our Ministry of Agriculture, and we have two of the leaders of the Ministry of Agriculture, Sister Nika, Sister Yolette. All right, and I will let them introduce themselves. All right, family. But before I do that, I need you to hit the like button. I need you to smash that share button. I need you to comment for me, and I need you to subscribe. All right, family, we are building our own independent Black news network, a form of communication where we are in control of the narrative, right? Little form of propaganda, it's all good. It's for the building of the family, all right? It's for the building of our nation. And we start by one of the most primary needs of our family, which is what? Food. We gotta learn how to grow our own food. And we'll get into a little bit of where we are in today's time and how important it is to actually learn how to grow food. Okay. All right. So, family, without further ado, I'm going to let the sisters introduce themselves. First, we will start with Sister Nika Forte. Introduce yourself to my old family, Sister Nika.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Mika Forte, and I am part of the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm an urban farmer and a beekeeper. And so, kind of like why I joined the Ministry of Agriculture, and the reason why the Ministry of Agriculture is so important, not only just to the Phoenix LOC and what they're trying to do as a whole, but also to the communities which we serve, is we're trying to fight back food insecurity. And so our mission is to empower individuals within food deserts and within our communities to learn how to grow their own food. Food sovereignty and food rights is so important and something that I think that we don't really focus on when we're thinking about movement and like what we can do to sustain our people and our community. And so Ministry of Agriculture is out there to educate and empower everyone on how to grow their own food and sustain themselves so that they're not in a situation where they're relying on anyone else to feed their bodies.
Thank you, Sister
I'm
Nika.
muted. Thank you. Yep, Sister Yolette.
Hi, I'm Yolette. I'm also a part of the Ministry of Agriculture. I was invited to the community garden. I still heard about Phoenix LLC, and I was just coming just to, get my Sunday off right. And I just fell in love with the energy and the time that we put in at the garden. So I'm heavily engulfed now.
All right. Well, welcome. Thank you. I'm glad, first of all, you guys decided to join me on this day. I really appreciate it. And this is a very, very important conversation. So let's kind of get into this, family. As we're looking at things going on today, we can see in the news food shortages are rampant right now in certain parts of the country and in certain areas of the world. Okay. So let me ask you, Sister Nika, what first of all got you really into learning how to garden and grow food and what got you into that And how is what's happening today impacting what we're doing and how we're providing for the community and what you're using your skills to provide for the community? How is it impacting us today?
So, how I got into it, there's not this huge background in agriculture or anything like that. I just happened to be going to school. And the school that I was going to school to be a life coach. And the school I was going to also offered different programs or certificate programs underneath their degree. And so they had urban farming as one of them, and nutrition as another, and they had other stuff like Reiki and hypnotherapy and massage therapy and all of that, and yoga. And but I really wanted to get into growing my own food because we're a big family. So there's my husband and I, and we have four children, and two of them are boys, and boys are always eating. And so, like, I just really thought, oh, well, I can kind of add this in my degree program. It'll help me feed my family, and maybe I can get into like helping my other family members grow food in their space. And then once I started doing it, I knew that it was so important and I was so good at it. And I was just like, everybody should be doing this. Like, we should all be doing this. We should all be feeding ourselves. We should all know where our food comes from. And that was a part of the program too, like really making us dive into thinking about where our food comes from, who those producers are, what kind of chemicals are used on our food, why it's so important to grow your own food so you know what's being used on it to help it grow. And so through that, I just got into farming for a nonprofit where we grow food to the homeless. And that became such a passion to me, just seeing the look on people's faces when they've grown food in the community garden and then take it and then they're actually eating and consuming it, and me watching the homeless people that would come to our shelter actually consume that food made me feel so good. And I was just like, okay, so how can I do this on a wider scale and really help, my community in the neighborhoods where I lived, where, there are people who are scrounging for meals and who are having to make those hard decisions about, food versus electricity versus shelter. And like, how can that be something that they don't have to worry about anymore? And so getting people to think about food as not just something that they consume, but also something that can help sustain their families and also save them money at the same time. Because what a pack of seeds costs $1.20 at the store, you throw some seeds in the ground, you can get 30 to 50 pounds worth of produce from one plant. Like, it just all made sense. Like, if we're trying to sustain ourselves and we're trying to lift ourselves up, our communities up, then we should definitely be doing this through food and teaching them how to just feed their body and their mind in a healthy way without all the chemicals that are involved, and just being more environmentally aware of the food processes and how we get our food. And also kind of like, sticking it back to the man in a way, because it was used as a way to control us for so long. And if we take that back, we put that under and teach the people that follow under us, who are coming up, our youngsters, our children, like they can be more sustained. They can live more sustainable lives without having to worry about um, feeding themselves. And so yeah, I think of it as like a way to revolt. I think of it as a way to sustain. I think of it as a way to build community. And so that's kind of how I transitioned from this kind of, oh, well, maybe I should just sign up for a class, to actually really getting out in the community and teaching it to others.
That's awesome. That bring while you were speaking, I was thinking about the past and how we come from an agrarian background anyway as a people. Because remember on the plantations, we was the ones out there doing the farming and the growing of the food and feeding everyone. So it's almost like reclaiming something that we were kind of lost at a certain amount of, at a certain
Absolutely.
time. And
Yes.
and it's the power, the control of that, because what, he who feeds you controls you, right? So it's now it's about wrestling back that control. That was a great point. Yo, let what I know you said the energy of it when you saw it and you saw everybody in the garden, it was like, whoa, you know, I think I can get down with this. What are you learning so far in this process, while you've been, with the Ministry of Agriculture?
I'm learning every day. Um, and um, just being in the garden, like I said, the energy and being able to listen, and it's like a camaraderie as well. Like, and you think that you're in Arizona and you think that like crops can't grow because it's very, very hot. But, you know, last grow season was a very big testimony for us. Like, we had so much food that we didn't even know what to do with it. You know, we was trying to give it away. We didn't know we had so much to take home. We didn't know what to do with it. So I'm learning every day, you know, how to pull weeds, you know, how to even put a seed in the ground and keep it growing. And now I'm even learning myself at home, you know, how to grow food. I live in an apartment. I'm growing food on my balcony in a bucket. So it's just like how you all said, like taking back what we already know and gaining that independence for ourselves so that, you know, we can thrive as a community, just alone as far as, you know, monetary wise and food wise. But so many little tricks that I've learned just about ladybugs. You know, you put ladybugs, you know, in your dirt and they're taking care of your bugs, your pesticides and things like that, and how you should water things and type of sunlight, and you know, a grow calendar as far as you know, when's the best time to plant something so that it'll thrive in the type of weather conditions. So I'm learning every day, and I'm excited every day too.
Now that's something that, I think is missing from the community. I think that, being in the soil, being in the dirt, being out there, is a missing component. And I just love to hear that because it's like it's coming from such a sincere place, and there's passion there. So I'm sure that you also understand the of what it is for our community as well, to do this. So not only are you learning, but you'll get to the point, and you already are really teaching as you're learning and as you're growing, your own food. And I heard someone say, if you want to learn something, grow something. Do you agree with that, Nika? If you want to learn something, grow something.
Absolutely. Growing food teaches you patience. It teaches you to be aware of your surroundings. It teaches you to plan. It teaches you to be responsible. So absolutely, yes. If you want to learn something, grow something. Yeah, and I believe too that a lot of us are disconnected. Kind of what I was saying before, that because there's this trauma around food when it comes to the African American community. We see that as maybe slave labor. So why would I be out there pulling weeds and plowing land and like I don't have to do that no more. We live in 2021, but you do need to do that, and it's more important now, than it was then. And I will say this too, that they brought us here for a reason because we knew how to do that. Like we knew how to grow something from nothing, and because we had that skill ingrained in us, we just need to get back in touch with it now. It's not that we don't know how to do it; it's we just need to remember. That's it. As a community, we just remember. And when you're out there and you're actually growing food, you're more in touch with the earth. You're more in touch with yourself. You're more in touch with your community because it's not just about you, but it's also about the planet that gave to us and about the people that we share this space with.
I wanted to add too, listening to you, Nika, just saying, I wanted to add about like, you know, our relationship with food as far as the Black community. You know, we've had a relationship where it's like we're using food for comfort, and that's kind of like the type of food that we eat. So just growing in a garden, like you can still feel good about the food, but now it's healthier for you. You're gaining energy, you're gaining vitamins, and like you said, it's all natural. So it's just about, like we were talking about, reclaiming. It's also about reclaiming our relationship with food.
Now that's a good point. Our relationship with food. That's a good point because that's how we relate, right? That's another way that as a people we show love to each other. It's through cooking. It's through food. And then we will have harvests and celebration when we reap, and when we sow, we always celebrate, right? So even spiritual systems are set up around, harvest time. You know what I mean? When we're going in, we're pulling in all that great food from that all that work we did during the summer. Now we're reaping the harvest in the fall, before we go into the dead of winter. Certain spiritual systems would have 5 and 6 days of just joyous occasion because it was such plenty there. So it is reclaiming our past. It is remembering who we are. It is really just tapping into something because just see excitement, on your Let's face, just talking about it. That's something that is tapping in, right? So imagine if we can have 100,000, Yolettes out there whose young faces are shining with this knowledge now, and that we see, hey, wait a minute, we can get back into this. We can actually do this, and then other young sisters that see her can see, hey, wait a minute, I could do this too. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's something that can perpetuate in a good way. So for people to see us out there like that, I think it's more than just growing food. It's like you said, it's actually creating community, and I think that's the biggest goal because the communities were started when you go back into ancient times, especially in the Nile River Valley. The communities were built around the farm, and everybody had their function in the farming community. That's how it started. Once the irrigation system started and the community started breaking out around these farming areas, and that's how we proliferated our communities, eventually in our cities, and then eventually the country. Quick history lesson for y'all. So, but yeah, that's something that we're just recapturing that spirit of for our people. So, what else are you doing, Nika? What else have you got going on that enhances that knowledge of planting and growing? But what else are you doing? Talk about your business.
So, I have a business. It's ABC Mobile Education Center. ABC stands for Agriculture, Bees, and Composting. We are a mobile education center where we will come to you and teach you how to grow in your space. I also trained women of color to be beekeepers because beekeeping is an ancient art within our community that we have kind of like lost. It's become a very white and male dominated industry, but we're the first people and we're the caretakers. And so, if we're the caretakers of this planet, then we need to do that in all types of aspects. And so, beekeeping is another way to do that. I say if you want to get closer to God, go in the garden and work with bees because those are the closest things to nature and to the Creator that you can physically put your hands in and actually work. And so, so I start my second set of ladies this January, and we're still looking for ladies to join that program. I'm trying to build an army of women of color beekeepers and kind of just like, again, it's kind of just like a way to revolt and kind of take back art forms that were taken from us that are meant to benefit us and to strengthen us and to empower our communities. And so I do that through educating, and I find my way to get into the communities a lot of times is through children, because if you can get the kids interested, the parents don't really have any choice but to kind of get in there and kind of support their kids. And a lot of times people will notice that if your kids are really into growing, parents are really happy with that because it's not them trying to, get into video games or, other stuff that's not benefiting them, but it's something that actually supports and helps family. So, yeah. I educate the community on growing food and on being a caretaker for the earth because that's important.
Awesome.
And
Now, I did have a question. I'm sorry. Like, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, and also we've been holding. Well, she's been holding courses for us in the LLC as well on the weekend since we haven't really. We're trying to heal our land so that we can start fresh in the new growth season. So we're having classes. We've had different classes, testing soil. Um, we have another class coming up that's it's escaping me right now, but we're having different courses so that we can learn. It's also book not book work, but like we have to learn as well. It's not only just going out there; we have to do our own studies as well.
Right.
Yeah,
I
and so
did.
basically through the training programs, they're learning how to grow food on their space and also prepping them. So because I feel like I shouldn't be the only one leading and knowing this information, that this is information everyone should have, and we should all be leading. Like if I teach Sister Eulette, she teaches five other people. Two of those people teach five other people. One of those people teach five other people. Like and then it's something that we all know. And if Sister Yolette gets it in her a bug in her, like I'm dope at growing tomatoes, and then I have another sister or brother that's like, well, I'm dope at growing peppers, then we can bring that food together and feed each other. So it's they're growing food on their space. They're doing it in buckets. Not all of them have the land or the space to do it, and so growing food in any environment, you can do it. People just they don't know how, and education with why education is so important.
Now that was a now that genders a second question because I actually had a first question, and that was going back to the bees. Um, Besides the honey for the community, because when they think of bees, they think of stingers or honey. What are some of the benefits of of raising bees of doing this type of work? What is the benefit for the environment, for the community? What's the benefit for it? And then I have a second question. The second question I'll ask after you answer that.
Okay, so to answer this first question, uh, bees, one out of every three things that you put on your plate has been pollinated by a bee. We cannot grow food without bees. We can't have trees without bees. They are the pollinators of the planet. There are other pollinators, but nobody does it as efficiently as a bee does. And so that being said, and bees are also an environmental indicator, right? So you'll know if there's pesticides being sprayed in your area because it will kill your bees. You'll know if your area is plentiful and has resources and able to sustain growth of food if there's bees in your area. So bees are an environmental indicator. They're very much an important part of food production. And so yeah, like bees are dope. Like if you don't, if people are scared of bees because they're misunderstood. But I'm telling you, there's ladies who were in my program who were scared of bees when they joined, but by the time you get out there and you start working, you're not scared of them anymore. They're a part of nature. I believe that we all share energy, right? So like when I breathe out, you breathe in, you're breathing in part of me, I'm breathing in part of you. We're exchanging energy when we're standing next to each other. And these are the embodiment of the energy of this planet. And the way that they work together, the way that they sustain their colony is exactly how humans should be living. They are the prime example of how society should work because they do everything to take care of each other. They groom each other, they heal each other, they feed each other, and everything that happens in the hive is sustained to sustain everybody within the hive. And so I just think bees are just such a fascinating part of nature. And if you're scared of bees, come hang out with me. Come hang out. You won't be scared of bees after you come hang out with me, I promise.
If you say so, sister. but I think I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up. I'll take you up on that. But you know what? No, I didn't think of all of that. When it comes to bees, because they have the stigma. I got stung. A lot of people been stung, but it's that stigma. But you didn't realize that they live in such a communal way. It makes sense because all of the sages would always tell us to look at nature. Like we're supposed to observe nature and live like nature, and be a part of nature. So someone like me who looks at bees is like, I wouldn't do that because I would be more comfortable. But I'm from an urban, environment. I'm from, the city, and we kill bees. We don't. We run from them. See, and that's the thing.
I'm from Detroit, and it don't get no urban than that. And there are people out there doing beehives and growing food and empty lots where they are tore down houses in our community. So like you ain't gotta be
It,
country to like some bees.
well, I tell you, well, my neighborhood from the Bronx, we killed them. And we either killed them or ran from them. We never saw hives. We didn't see hives. And our environments are pretty similar because we have the same winters, the same types of really bad winters. I've never seen a beehive before. I've never seen a honeycomb before. I've never seen the comb before. So that was like, all we know is in the summer the bees come and, you either going to swat them or you're going to get stung. And that's all we know what they did. And they were flying around the sweet smelling flowers that were in the neighborhood. And that was it. That's all that was it. So a brother needs an education. I,
Yeah.
I fully acknowledge that. So I'll take you up on that. Now, my second question is, or not my question so much, but it's for Yolette too. What has See, when it comes to growing food, people also think you need a lot of land. You need to put it in the ground. Growing food I've seen people grow food in buckets. Like there's people in the L.O.C. that grow food in buckets, and things like that in apartments. What has that experience been like for you, Yolette? And has it? What's the experience been like for you so far since you've been doing it?
So far, it's been a good experience. I definitely have to check in, and I'm asking questions almost every day. Nika could tell you, and as a group, and because I want everybody else to hear as well. But it's been a good experience. But like I said, it's exciting. Every day I'm going out there like, oh, it grew a little bit more. Like, oh, it's sprouting out. Like, but it's been a very good experience, and it's just like how we were saying that I'm growing carrots and Trimika's growing broccoli. We're gonna trade whenever it's time. So it's been good, but I'm also, like I said, I'm learning too. Um, I went out of town, so I had to. The good thing about buckets is I went out of town, and I had my cousin take care of my bucket while I was gone. So it's very good and efficient in that way. So nobody has to like come check on your plants. I brought my plants to them. I brought my food to them. So I'm liking it a lot, and I'm just trying to take the proper measures so that I can do everything right. So whenever something does finally grow, I can show everybody like I did this by myself at my house.
In other words, it's possible, family. You can make it happen. You can do it. You can grow food, feed your family out of a bucket. And I've seen someone on YouTube grow one out of those plastic cups that we get from like the movie theaters, like the big plastic cups, growing food out of a plastic cup. So it's possible. So that I guess that was my point. Is like growing food in buckets, like that's like a foreign concept to a lot of people, but it's actually pretty simple. You just heard it. You just heard it. So is that another form of education that we have to go through as a community just to get over that, even understanding that?
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people have this idea in their head about like what it means to grow food and sustain themselves, and like if they have the space, they always question, well, maybe I don't have the green thumb, or and I tell people it's okay. I've killed hundreds of plants. It's fine. Don't give up though. And with each plant death is a lesson learned, right? There should be a lesson learned. So like you'll know if you overwatered it too much. Oh, my leaves turned all the way yellow. Like it just started drooping for no reason. Well, because you're overwatering it. Or my leaves got crispy and they're brown. Well, that's because you're not watering enough. Or I see these little dots or specks on my plant. Like where I can see through the leaves. Well, that's a deficiency. I see holes. Okay, that's bugs. We did like there. It's simple if you're paying attention. It's not hard at all. The only rule for growing food in a bucket is one plant, one bucket. Right, so you can grow one tomato plant in a 5 gallon Home Depot bucket. Like you can grow one pepper in a 5 gallon Home Depot bucket. Like it's not hard. The only thing you need to do is make sure you drill some holes in the bottom for drainage. Maybe put some rocks in the bottom if you can. If not, that's fine too. Make sure there's holes in the bottom for drainage. Water and check your soil often. You can do that by putting your finger down an inch. If it's dry, you might need to water. Your plants will tell you what they need. You just need to be paying attention to them. I know there's sometimes I look completely crazy and I'm outside of my front yard talking to my plants. I know my neighbors are like, there's something wrong with that lady. But you know what? They talk back to me and I know what they need, by just looking at them. So, um, yeah, I mean, all I can say is do it. Do it. Don't wait and say, well, maybe later. I don't know. I need to go and read this first. Or there's 2 videos out there. There's community gardens where you can volunteer your time and learn from the people that grow food. Like there's no excuse for anybody to go hungry or to be broke because they don't have enough food in the house. There's just no excuse. I mean, and if you find yourself in that situation, then hit us up. We'll put together a vegetable basket for you or something. But you should definitely be growing food in your home space.
Exactly. And just hearing that, there really is no excuse. You know, it, unless you just don't see the importance of eating, or or you're not paying attention to what's going on out here. And that was the reason why I really wanted to do this show, because I'm watching reports, on YouTube and in these different news outlets of the food shortages that are going on, around the country. We saw what happened not only just around the country, starting to now around the country, but globally. They're talking in Britain. There's food shortages because this whole COVID thing has people locked in, and it's this whole pinging system they're doing with their cell phones, so people are not able to go to work, so they can't eat. Okay, so food is not moving, in the logistical system in this country as well. So, and you saw what happened at the beginning of the pandemic last year. What happened at the grocery stores? You know, the shelves were empty, and then what did people do? People panicked. People panicked. So when and if that happens again, you know what I'm saying? We now have a mechanism. We now have an organization. We now have a group of like-minded people who are educating the community. And I don't want to just look at y'all. I'm gonna look right into the camera. Who are educating the community on growing food. This is what we do, family. We are the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee for Justice or Else. And that or else is, you don't want to help us, you're unwilling to, we'll do it for ourselves. And that's what we're doing. We're doing it for ourselves. We spoke about education. We're speaking about media. We spoke about business with Brother Ali last week with the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. And now we're getting back to the basics of all of that: food, food security, eating. Because the sister mentioned a food desert. Can you explain the food desert to the family real quickly for those who don't know what a food desert is?
Yeah, so a food desert is an area where you don't have access to nutritious and healthy food within several miles of your house. And then some people say, oh, well, there's a little grocery store right by here, or there's a food mart there, but is that healthy food? Is that nutritious food? Like it's having access to healthy, nutritious food. And I will tell you why a lot of these places don't have access to healthy, nutritious food. When you get your food from a grocery store, it has been weeks since it has been picked off the vine. Within 24 hours of me harvesting a piece of broccoli, it has lost 50% of the vitamin B that you're supposed to get from that broccoli. Within 48 to 78 hours, I have lost 80% of the vitamin that I thought I was supposed to be getting from that piece of broccoli. But what happened is they sprayed it and they put dyes on it and they make it look pretty and they keep it preserved and they put it on the grocery store and you think that it's nice and fresh and it's not. That's why it is important for people to ask their grocery stores if they're getting their vegetables from local sources or for you to go to local farmers markets to buy your food because food that you're getting from the grocery store is not giving you the nutrients that you actually need to feed your body. It's not. It looks nice because they sprayed it and they put some wax on it and it looks all shiny and it's nice and colorful and that's because they've done that on purpose so that you will stay buying it. And a lot of times people will overlook food that don't look pretty. If it's not attractive, you don't want it even though some of the foods that are about the least attractive are the ones that haven't been sprayed and boosted with pesticides and all these different hormones and stuff that they put in it. Food is power, and they use the food to control you. And if they spray something in that food that creates a chemical imbalance within your body, your brain cannot function correctly. So you don't even have the power, the mindset, or even the energy to go and fight against anything that they're putting in front of you because you're not feeding your body right. So yeah, yeah. Food deserts, um, food deserts kill, and grocery stores, big chain grocery stores do too. So
And Arizona is full of food
food
deserts. I live
deserts.
in one. Yeah, I live in one.
I
So
live
I
in
know.
one too.
Yes. See. So this is where we are. So this is actually pretty timely because as we get closer to when things are going to start is changing as far as what's going to be available on the shelves. Eventually, it's going to start trickling down to the point to where you either grow or starve. I think it's going to get to that point. I actually, all the indicators, excuse me, and just observing things out there in the world, I can see that where it's going to get to the point to where the scarcity is going to become the norm for a little while, until the family gets together, and we're working on that. We're working on that, right? We're trying to get that together, as a family. But I thank you so much for that because that, just like the brothers saying in the chat, I didn't put everything he's saying, but that knowledge is so on point, and understanding the idea of between food deserts and your local grocery stores and natural food. Most people are not that engaged in what they do. They just go to the grocery store. That's what we've been trained to do. Just hearing that advice, I'm thinking to myself, if I was in that situation, or if I was that engaged, right, and in my health or in what I intake, enough to even ask the managers there, hey, is this stuff from the local? You know, how do we get to that point or that
Absolutely. You can
becomes
ask them.
important?
And you can demand that, right? You're spending your money there. You can demand that. You can go to your grocer and be like, so where'd you get these tomatoes from? So because it's not in season here, that means it wasn't grown here. That means it was shipped from somewhere else. So it's important to know what's in season in your area. You can find that information on U of A Cooperative Extension. There is a seasonal harvest calendar they have, and it'll tell you like what's in season for Arizona. And if you see something in your grocery store that's not in season during this time of year, then you know that they shipped that from somewhere else. It's not from here at all.
You heard that, family. Beware. And it's okay to ask questions. And it's okay to be engaged in your food and what you consume. You know, there's a lot of canned goods out there that we consume, and there's just so much that goes into it. So then now we're transitioning into another thing where we're talking about good, healthy food, right? Means what? Good, healthy bodies, which means what? Good, healthy minds, right? So what we eat also has, I can see, has a connection to how we think, how we feel, what's going on, in our mind. It's all linked. It's part of nature. It's all linked, right? So when it comes to that, when it comes to our food intake and how we're engaged in the things, how we're being intentional. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm digging for that word for the last 5 minutes. Intentional about how we're engaging in what we eat, and it also can affect our mental state, right? If we're eating processed low vibration food, yes, food has a vibration, family. If we're eating low vibrational food, that means what? We have low vibrational thoughts. We move sluggish. We put on weight. We run the risk of what? Diabetes. And now we're going into a whole nother thing. How does that affect us as a family, as an individual, like you, for example? That.
So when we actually harvest our food from the garden, you can taste the difference. The taste is so fresh. I try to always like at least eat some food that day because I want like the nutrients from that day. And you can taste the difference and you can feel the different energy inside of you from, the different food that you get from the garden versus whenever you get it from the store. It's just like you said, like the vibrations are different, and it just makes you feel good to even pick the food, wash it off yourself. And sometimes we just pick it, and if we trying things, we just trying it in a garden, and you don't even know how good that feels. And we all get excited over it, like, oh, do you taste that? I never taste it. Never tastes like that before. Like we were talking about, like the marketing of it all. Like, we had some peaches in the garden. The peaches were, regular sized peaches, but when you go to the grocery store, they're humongous. But it's a definitely a different feeling, and the taste is better, and it makes your body feel better, so that your energy is changed and you feel better, and your mind as well. And it's just even digesting the food and making your body feel better, just knowing that where your food came from, that makes you feel better 100%. Like, I know who planted this. I know what their intentions were. And I know that this food was grown with good energy and good vibrations. And now it's in my body. And the cycle repeats.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. I like that. That makes total sense because then that clears your mind, right? You have a clear mind now, so you feel good about it. It elevates. It's a whole process, family. It's just seeing that, knowing that you grew your food. You were the one who touched it, so your intentions was right because it's going in your body. You were the one who planted it, who watered it, who did to growth, to maturity, and then you consume it. Man, I can only imagine. Like, I've only done it tangentially, and speaking of that, going out to the garden, um, when Brother James, um, I think it was James, he pulled out the head of a cauliflower that we were growing, right? And the yellow leaves and stuff that grow out of that. He took a piece of that, man. I was like, man, this is good. And I'm like, boy, that's some yellow stuff. What is that? And he told me that it was edible flower that grows from a fully mature. I think I believe it was cauliflower. I hope I'm right. Either that or broccoli. I'm not sure, but these were yellow little flowers that grew from it, and they were about maybe a foot tall. And he was pulling off the yellow leaf. He was just breaking off the branch and start munching. When I saw that, I was like, man, give me that. And I took me a bite, and it was the sweetest thing I've ever, you know what I'm saying, tasted. Like, it was, you would think of something like that would be tart because of the vegetable that it grew from, but it was sweet. It was sweet, and I was saying, wow, this is great. So I ate about 7 or 8 of them. I ate about 7 or 8 of them. But I couldn't stop myself at that point. But yeah, you make a good point about the fruit, because he also pointed to some of the trees that were there. That we had the peaches, the apples, and they were all just normal size. Maybe they look like what we would see as plums in the grocery store. But when we see the apples and the other fruit in the grocery store, they're huge. They're like little infants. So that tells you right there, what's happening. But and then we're getting the seedless stuff, right? We're getting all this fruit that's seedless. We're getting these what do they call them, GMOs, genetically modified foods and things like that in the community. So that has a direct effect on our mental health as well. So I see this particular ministry as well too as a total holistic thing where it goes beyond just growing food and learning the science of growing, but it's a holistic thing where you're transforming yourself. I'm not trying to go too deep, but it's like you're transforming yourself by growing something in the ground. Like, what kind of knowledge did our ancestors get when we didn't have TVs and cell phones and computers and all these other distractions, and we were just living off the land and off the from what we did, from our labors, and we controlled everything that we did. Do you ever see us getting back there? Sister Nika first, and then Yolette. You ever see us getting back there?
Yes, absolutely. I positively get getting there. And I see us doing it as a community. Like, we need people to teach canning so we know how to preserve food. We need people to teach us how to save seed, how to, like, we're absolutely going to get back to it. I mean, hopefully it doesn't have to happen through some serious tragedy. Hopefully we can get it together before then. But I absolutely have faith that we're going to get it together. Absolutely, positively. And I'm gonna tell you how important food is. You want to know how important food is when back in the day, when World War II happened, the first thing that they did was bomb the seed silos. Why would the first thing they bomb is the seed silo? Because if you starve out of people, you control the seed, you control the food, and you control the people. So we don't want nobody controlling us. So we just got to come together and think of it that way, and absolutely we'll get it. We'll get it. We're just a little distracted with shiny things right now, but that's okay. More of us are coming over to the dirt side.
We're coming around slowly but surely. Yolette.
Well, I was gonna say, you asked, can we get back there or will we get back there? I feel like us, we're here now. We're initiating it, and this is the start of it all, and how we're going to get back. Just getting the word out, being on here, having a discussion, talking to someone, inviting somebody to the garden. One day, I guarantee they will come back, just because they might bring somebody else. It's like Nika said, all it takes is one person, and that person tells one person, and it goes on. And that person tells their kids, and their kids are interested in gardening now. And like, it's, you don't ever hear kids talk about like, oh, I want to be a farmer when I grow up. Like, that's what we need to get back to, and it starts here now. How we're doing it, having a discussion and coming together as a community.
The kids in my program do. The kids in my the kids in my program want to be farmers and beekeepers.
Good.
But I honestly feel
That's
like kids are like the key though. Like, and people are like, oh well, my kids are picky and they don't eat vegetables. That grows kale eats kale. A kid that grows carrots eats carrots because they're invested in it. Like, they just need to see where it comes from. Kids are like, I don't know where that comes from. That looks weird. How's that supposed to be? How did that get on my plate? But if you get them involved in it, they're down. And then once you get the kids, you get the adults. So
Hey, Frederick Douglass said it's a lot easier to train a child than to heal broken men. So if we can get them right at their youth, that's the whole thing. Sisters, thank you so much for coming on. Just the information and the knowledge you two kick, man. Like, our comments, our likes are on fire. So great job, you guys. But
Thank
to close out, family. Yeah, I knew, the black woman, y'all got something, and it's yeah. I'll leave it there, family. But yes, let's get some closing statements. Sister Nika, let us know what the family can do to get in touch with you, either regarding coming out to the garden or your business at ABC Mobile. And y'all let you the same how people can reach you if you want them to come out to the garden just to say hey. Then that's what you say. All right. Okay.
So I would say Phoenix L.O.C. join it. There's a lots of lovely ministries that are trying to tackle the different challenges that we're facing as a community, and so get involved. Um, I'm not saying join any of the other ministries, of course, but I'm saying that even if you join the ministry of information, even if you join the ministry of arts and culture, even if you join the ministry of commerce, you can still join the ministry of agriculture. We are going to be having a class next month on the 21st at Grassroots Bookstore, and that's about how you can garden at home. The proceeds from that will go partially to Phoenix LLC and partially to ABC Mobile Education. If you're interested in knowing more about ABC, you can look us up on Facebook, ABC Mobile Education Center. You can go to my website, www.abcmec.org. If you want to know more about the beekeeping, you can go to those sites as well, and also hashtag Bayhive, BAEHIVEAZ. Get more information on how to join in that. And yeah, come on down and work up in the farm in the growth space. We're going to be back there in September, so we need some more hands out there.
Yes, come out to Spaces of Opportunity. Um, that's the name. That is the name. Okay. A vineyard in 19th. You can't miss it. We're there, and like she said, in the growth season, we'll be there every other Sunday, I believe. If you see me, say hi to me anywhere. I'll tell you all about where you need to go, where you need to be, at what time. I have all the information. And I just want to tell people that, if you feel inspired, do it. If you're thinking about it, do it. I had zero knowledge. I killed so many houseplants before I came here, and I was just trying my hand at something. So come out to the garden, get some knowledge. Even if you don't learn nothing the first day, you'll learn something the next time. You'll take some knowledge with you, or take some inspiration with you, or even some good food with you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, family, for coming out. Family, you heard the Ministry of Agriculture. We waiting for you. Come on, L.O.C. Check us out at www.thepxloc.com if you want to sign up and join. Like they said, come on out to the garden and just get some of this medicine from your family. All right. Once again, thank you, Nika, for coming on. Yolette, thank you very much for volunteering and sharing your time with me. Really
Peace.
appreciate it. Family, once again, I'm sorry, go ahead, Yolette.
No, I was just saying peace. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Peace, peace. Family, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe, go to our website and sign up. Come on, family. This we it's not a whole lot of time left. All right. So playtime is over. It's not twerk time. It's grow time. Okay, we're gonna grow some food, not party and twerk time. We're gonna grow some food and we're gonna learn how to take care of ourselves before it's too late. All right. So on that note, thank you again. Thank you for watching the Waking Giant News Show. Please subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Come back. We'll be back again on Wednesday with some more of the dynamic women of the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee. Peace, family. You guys have a good night.